let's talk about creating and selling your photography packages. You guys know if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. If you're watching the replay, I'm happy to come back later and answer those questions for you. All right. So when creating photography packages that sell, you need to consider three things. Okay. The first thing is to simplify your offers. Okay. If you offer every service under the sun, it can actually be overwhelming to your audience. Okay, so narrowing down into a niche, into a specialty, okay, that demonstrates you as an expert in your field, and it simplifies their decision-making process as to whether or not you are the photographer for someone. Okay, nothing overwhelms me more to see a photographer's website where they have 3 packages for couples, 3 packages for weddings, 3 packages for this, 4 packages, whatever number of packages they have. Simplify things, guys, because an overwhelmed mind will say no when it comes to booking with you. All right. I know that when you are first starting your businesses within the first couple of years, you may be shooting a lot of different things because you're trying to find out what you're passionate about and what you love, and that is absolutely okay. But the sooner that you can niche down, the better, because it not only shows you as an expert in your field, it just helps you to book more. Okay? Very important. Secondly, never, ever, ever respond to an inquiry without a session guide. Okay? If you answer an inquiry with a number, you've given that potential client permission to choose you based on price point instead of your value. How many times have we talked about this, guys, right? Everything we talk about in here is teaching your clients to value you based on who you are, what you do, your brand, your work, not on whether or not you're the lowest price point, okay? So never, ever respond to an inquiry with a number. Respond with a session guide. So typically what I will say is like, hey, Joni, thanks so much for reaching out. I'd be happy to tell you more about my packages and your investment when working with me. Attached, you'll find my session guide that will give you all the info on what you can expect and look forward to when booking a session with me and the package and pricing details you are looking for. That is typically how I respond. I'm very careful with using the word pricing. You notice that I use the word investment at the beginning of that statement. I used pricing at the end because that boils down to what they're looking for and they're asking for, but I want to make sure that I am showing them my value before my price point. So I answered, yes, I'd be happy to give you that information. It is in here. Boom. Slide that PDF into Messenger, send it in an email, whatever you need to do. Let them see that, okay? This guide should include a short bio about you, who exactly you serve, okay? This is a vetting process, guys. Not every client is for you. Okay, you're not for every client, and that is okay. That is not a bad thing. All right, so you want to make sure the right people are being attracted to you guys, right? So again, the bio should include the session guide should include a short bio about you, who exactly you serve, the length of your sessions, testimonials, that's social proof that other people also think you're amazing and gives them a reason why they should trust to hire you. Okay, also big beautiful photos of your work. Okay, show your work, show what, give them something that they can imagine themselves in, something that can go on their walls, something that, they can have as printed albums to look at over the years. Okay, also how to book, and then your pricing, your packages, and a la carte product and digital items if you have those things. Okay, number 3, you need to, let me make sure I don't have any comments here. Millie says, love that. Yes. Number 3, create your packages with strategy in mind. Okay, so let's take a moment to talk about sales. I talked to you guys a little bit about this earlier. Let's dive in a little bit deeper, okay? Because I know most of you are uncomfortable with it. So if you're part of that majority, let me ask you this. No one goes to work for an employer, receives a paycheck of 0, or even worse, a negative, and finds that acceptable. So why do we feel bad about making a paycheck when we work for ourselves as photographers? Why, when we work for someone else, that's not okay, but if we work for ourselves, making an income's not okay. But if we work for somebody else, you're not going to put up with that. You're not going to put up with a 0 paycheck. You're going to be like, I'm out of here. This is not okay. I've got to put food on the table. But when you work for yourself, why is making a paycheck a negative? Why is getting paid not okay? And why is getting paid well not okay? I can't tell you the number of photographers I've heard say, well, I can't charge that. I can't charge that. What do you mean you can't charge that? Number one, you better figure out what your cost of doing business is, what your personal bills are, so you can figure out how much you need to be making per year. Now, remember, go back to the pricing for profit video that we did so you can find out what it is that you as an individual need to be making per client, per month, per year. It's going to be different from someone else's, okay? But it's okay to make enough to be able to save money and go take a trip at the end of the year. You didn't have a problem with it when you worked for somebody else. Have you ever worked for someone else? Put some money aside and saved it to go and take a trip once a year for 5 days, let's say. Did you ever do that and feel guilty about that? Did you ever feel guilty taking the money from your employer? Because you didn't take it, you earned it. And set some aside and saved it so you could take a trip, which is not a needed item, it's a luxury. You know what I mean? John says, you make it sound so obvious. It's great advice. But seriously, like, this is what I hear all the time, not just from photographers, anybody in a creative field, artist, hairstylist. I hear this all the time. What is it in us that all of a sudden makes us feel guilty for making a living? And especially if we make a good living. That I don't get. That is a mindset that we have got to change. Millie says, heck no, exactly right. We've got to change our mindsets. There is nothing wrong with that. So I wanted to give you that perspective, because if you don't have that problem working for someone else, you need to stop having that problem working for yourself, because you will not have a sustainable business as long as you hang on to that. You will not. Okay? I personally feel, like I said before, I feel the word sales equates to the word manipulate or manipulative in many people's minds. And there's something that you've got to understand if you want to have a sustainable business. Photography is a luxury. This is not a necessity. Okay, so clients inquire with you because they want to spend their money on something they want, not something they need. Okay, now there may be some emotional reason behind that purchase that incentivizes someone booking with you, like a once in a lifetime event. But even so, it's still not a necessity. No one needs photography to survive. Okay? Does that make sense? This is a luxury item that we are offering, and people are asking to spend their dollars with you. So why do you feel guilty about that? Why do you feel guilty about someone who wants to spend their money on something that they want? You know, think about that, guys. All right, think about that. Okay. So, with that being said, it's your job as a photographer to create beautiful images that your clients are going to be thrilled with, and guide them towards purchases that they're already looking to make that fit their wants best. Okay? That is not manipulation. That is service. Again, that is not manipulation. That is service, okay? And knowing how to approach your client with information that leads them to an investment they've knocked on your door asking for is nothing to feel uncomfortable about, okay? If you want a sustainable business, you've got to change your money and your sales mindset, okay? Yes, Millie, I am preaching because I get so amped up because you deserve more than you are allowing for yourself. That's why. So let's get back to strategy. I love strategy. I love strategy. So I'm going to admit to you guys, it was a little tough today trying to figure out what to talk to you about with packages, because again, I do a hybrid in-person sales. I offer prints, products, but I also offer digitals. And so I do very much a hybrid system. In fact, that I do digitals, but also just because I do online ordering sessions, everything is virtual except for our actual session. So I had to really sit down and think about, okay, what can I share that's going to help both IPS photographers and shoot and burn, because mostly we have shoot and burn that requested this video today. So we're going to talk about what you need to be strategic with no matter what business model you have, okay? So you've probably heard all kinds of conflicting information on how many packages you should have. I've heard people swear by 1 package, 3, 4, 5. I've even heard 7 packages. Personally, I would recommend at least 3 and no more than 4 when you're talking about portrait package creation. Okay. I personally right now use 4. Okay. I think package sales has a lot more to do with the strategy behind the packages and less to do with the number of packages that are there. However, psychologically, all the studies that they have done over the years, they have found that people most likely purchase in the middle. So you may have a higher package, a lower package, and they feel most comfortable in the middle. With me, right now, I have 4 packages, and people always buy in the top 2. I have never had anyone buy here with the current strategies that I'm using and the current offers that I have. In fact, lately, because I have changed my verbiage on explaining the difference between my 2 top packages, I am nailing the top package every time. And that's why I like 4 packages. With 3, everyone goes to the middle. You're kind of selling for middle of the road. With 4, to me, it kind of gives them a little bit more flexibility to move over into the higher packages. Okay. So again, it's not so much the focus on how many packages, it's more the strategy behind it, but I do recommend at least 3, no more than 4. I think more than 4 is just way too much. Like if you give people too much to choose from, it overwhelms them. If you give them too little, they don't have a choice at all but what is there, and they're either going to walk away or they're just going to settle for that, and you have no room to make more. I like to be able to have the challenge to make more, the challenge to help serve my clients better by giving them a larger package for things that they already wanted. One of the things that drives me insane is when I see photographers proudly post, oh my gosh, my clients loved their photos so much, they went and got them printed at Costco and put them on the wall. Check this out. Isn't that awesome? You are celebrating the fact that you gave a sale to somebody else. That's why I like IPS. Okay? Your clients want these things. Why not offer them? Okay? So, these packages can give why I like having 4. It gives the client feeling of flexibility for options. And then what you can do is you can strategize your packages to incentivize a larger sale. Okay? Millie says, I've seen some websites with so many packages, it makes me feel like when I go to a restaurant with an overwhelming menu and then I just order whatever, I end up not enjoying it. Can we talk about Cheesecake Factory? That makes me think of that. That is the most overwhelming menu, and which is terrible because I mean, they have some good things on the menu, but it is so overwhelming. It's like they bring you a hardbound book. What is that? It's overwhelming. So it's really good, Millie, and everybody else. If you see that, notate when you feel these things, when you see how someone's presenting their business to you, take a note about how you're feeling about that. Because if you feel that way, if you feel overwhelmed, it is likely many other people do too. And you want to make note of that because you want to make sure you're not doing that in your business. You can learn so much by both positive and negative experiences for your own business. Millie says, yes, so it's going to say Cheesecake Factory. Am I right? They seriously give you like this bound book. It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's get back to strategy. So when you're creating your packages, you want to be strategic by number 1, listing your packages in descending order, which means most expensive to least expensive. Okay. Many people aren't familiar as to what to expect when investing in photography. So if the first number is a shocker, see the next number be a little bit less, the next number be a little bit less, makes them feel much more comfortable that they're in the right place. Okay, if you start with a lower number and it feels a little shocking to them and all they keep seeing is a higher and higher number, you have lost the opportunity with that client. Okay, so put your packages in descending order. Like we talked about before, most people are going to buy a package somewhere in the middle. So you want them to feel more positive about the prices, by the time they get to that middle range package. All right. Secondly, never put your most popular items in the bottom package. Never ever. Remember you've got, I didn't tell you guys this, but what you want to make sure is that bottom package, whatever it is, no matter how many packages you have, whatever the bottom one is, needs to be profitable. So remember when we talked about pricing for profit and we figured out how much we need to be charging per client, that bottom package, your lowest cost package, needs to be at that price. Okay, so that no matter what happens, you are profiting and you have food on the table and your bills are paid. All the other packages increase from there. Make sense? Okay. So Again, never put your most popular items in the bottom package, because remember, you've priced your bottom package for profit, so there's no worries there, but we're not trying to make the bare minimum just to survive. We're looking to thrive, okay? You want to give incentive to invest further, but knowing that if someone doesn't, you're putting food on the table, okay? So in this package, you're gonna put the very basics, all right? So for example, maybe you offer hair and makeup services for your clients. It might be included in your top 2 packages, but not your bottom ones, okay? So maybe you offer digitals on a crystal USB, or access to a client closet, okay? Whatever is these high ticket, most wanted items, put those in your top packages, okay? Give incentive to look further, all right? Don't ever put the most wanted items in your bottom packages, all right? When you do this, this causes a necessity of choice for what they need, okay? So if you put all the hot ticket items in the bottom packages, your clients have no need to choose one collection over another because what they want is at the bottom, okay? So putting the most wanted items in your top packages creates a necessity of choice, okay? This is a forced dichotomy where there is such a striking difference between the bottom and top packages that your client now has a need to make a choice, okay? By creating purposeful collections, you're creating a necessity of choice for what your clients want, okay? So that, my friends, is how you create packages that are purposeful and profitable, all right? And again, for me personally, I have 4 packages, and I'm going to tell you this, when you consider implementing something new in your business, whether it's the number of packages you have or what you include in your packages, or let's say what business model you want to do or you want to hybridize, I want to encourage you guys with some experience of mine. I have 4 packages, right? I had thought towards the latter half of last year that I was going to go down to 3. And the reason why is everyone bought this one. They bought the second from the top. Okay, no one ever bought these. And I felt like I had locked myself into that position, and that was not what IPS was all about. Because I knew these people wanted more than what was in this package, but they just felt most comfortable there. I literally just changed up my verbiage and changed up the explanation of what the difference was, because I realized I was not explaining it appropriately. And when I gave them a new perspective, what the real difference was between my 2 top packages, they've been buying the top package. And I am so excited. And I at first thought, oh, it's this system. The system's not working. This is not for me. How many times have you said that to yourself or heard somebody else? Yeah, this or that's not for me. Sometimes it's us. And for this case, for me, it was me. And me just changing up, because my packages were already strategically set up, but my delivery sucked. That's where I was failing. So I figured out where it was in my delivery to help explain the differences between the packages, to help them understand what was right for them. But guys, this is how you create packages that are purposeful and profitable. Millie says, I just launched my new website, so I'm taking notes. I'm struggling with how to showcase the portraits. I think wedding packages I'm okay with. Definitely taking notes. So when you're struggling with how to showcase the portraits, do you mean on the portrait page where you're putting your packages? One thing too, guys, I know a lot of people have different ideas about putting their pricing on their websites for their packages. There's a couple ways to do that. I personally, again, do in-person sales, so I do not have my packages and my a la carte pricing on there, because that is a very personalized fee list for myself, meaning I have taken a lot of time to find out what it is I need to be earning based upon my cost of doing business, my personal budget, and then what the numbers that come out of that are just based on my personal needs. And it took me a long time to do that. That's not something I publicly am going to share for everybody to take a look at. Now, what I do is I put what my session experience fee is, and I tell them what the average investment is per client. So I have not had trouble with that. I will say I'm a detail-oriented person, though. I like to know all the numbers so I know whether or not I'm comfortable to give you a call or even message you. So there's a lot of, psychology behind whether or not to put your pricing on your website. But try different things. Try different things and see what works best for you, okay? Millie says how to come up with portrait packages. And that's the thing, Millie, there are so many different ways to do that. I know that you're shoot and burn. So like some photographers will make packages that just have a certain number of digitals that increases as the packages get larger. You just want to make sure that bottom package is not giving them so much that they have no reason to invest further. You want that to be super, super basic. So it's going to take some time and thought about strategy as to what to specifically put in there. Like I said, it's hard for me to really give recommendations to you guys because I can absolutely teach you what I do. There's a ton of strategy behind it. It's working beautifully for me. But it's hard for me to speak on multiple different business models. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to ask you guys about in-person sales business models, because quite frankly, some courses are going to be coming out. And I think that the opportunity to learn about virtual IPS, I think you guys, especially the ones that feel uncomfortable with sales, would really like it. Because I know a lot of you are already doing consults in person or online, especially if you're a wedding photographer. It's really no more stressful than that. It's really not. You have to shift your mindset to understand that you are leading people to items that they are asking for, that they want. You know, this is not manipulation. This is service. All right. Any questions, guys? I hope that gives you some inkling to some strategy for your own packages and how to create incentive for people to invest in you. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to check one more time if there's any more questions. Let me double check. All right, I think we're good. Let me double check. Yep. All right, guys. So I hope you have a great day. We're definitely going to be spending more time this year in this group talking about profitability, talking about productivity, things that can help make you a sustainable photographer. And I want you guys to understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting paid from your own business. Okay, you're not taking advantage. Does that mean that there's no photographers out there who aren't trying to take advantage of people? No, we have that in every part of society. But you don't need to be that way, and I don't either. So we have plenty of opportunity to serve our clients and serve them well and make a great income. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.